Welcome back to Nathan's series of videos titled Centurion. Give it a like, give it a share. Always interesting stuff coming from Nate. And today, Nate wants to discuss the Iraq War.
Well, I've given extensive thought to the Iraq War because I was in high school when the Iraq War started, and I was immediately very offended by it because I've always loved peace and I've always pursued peace and harmony. And for many years, I was outspoken against the Iraq War and the Bush administration. And then in my 20s, I produced a music video, anti-Iraq War, anti-Bush administration, Rise Up, which you can look at on my Hadron C YouTube channel, and also a number of other songs against the Iraq War on my album, including a song called Horror Horizons, which was against the Iraq War. So for a very long time, I've had very strong views that America invaded Iraq. Their motive was to take oil and to come in and to hijack the country and to steal oil and to make money, basically, and that it was a war driven by greed and the pursuit of resources and profit and spreading the influence of capitalism around the world. In recent years, I've thought about it a bit more. Particularly as I got into my 30s, I started to think about it a bit more. Now, if you accept the American narrative, the narrative presented by the Bush administration was that they wanted to spread freedom and democracy around the world by ousting a dictator. Now, what I've come to realise is, the one thing I know about my personality type is that I will never bow to any king. Nobody's going to rule over me, and I expect to have a vote in who runs the nation I live in. So I will never bow to any monarch or submit to any dictator. So if it's between dictatorships and democracy, I'm definitely pro-democracy. Now, that doesn't mean that I remember the bombing of Baghdad being on the news when I was a teenager, and it was just atrocious. Then they said, we're only targeting specific targets with terrorists in them, and they blew the shit out of the whole city. Just dropped bombs all over a city. Imagine how many innocent people died. That doesn't. You can't go around proclaiming that you serve good while you're mass murdering people. The two don't work together. If you're going to say that you're righteous, we want to free you, we want to give you democracy and freedom, then behave in a righteous way. Righteous people don't go around mass murdering people and dropping bombs all over cities. That's not righteous. That's not right. That's just mass murder. So certainly, America's military strategy and tactics are terrible. And the amount of civilian casualties was huge. I think I remember it numbered in about 500,000 or something. I'd have to look it up again. Or even more over the duration of the war, even more. You can't go around and proclaim you're helping people by killing huge numbers of the population of the country you claim to be liberating. That being said, I do believe in people being liberated from monarchs and kings and dictators who install themselves and claim ownership over other people. So what I've come to realise is that if you look at the American narrative, that America is righteous and that America is spreading democracy around the world, what I've come to realise is democracy is the righteous position when compared to kings and dictators. Democracy is the righteous position because democracy gives the public, the population of the country, control over their own country. And I do fundamentally, as a Democrat, I do believe that the population of a country is the only people who are entitled to rule the country are the population of the country through voting and through everybody having equal say in how the country is run. So I do not believe dictators are acceptable. It is not acceptable to install yourself and rule over people and to claim that you, for some reason, have a right to rule and claim ownership of other people. It's the same as slavery. So what I've come to realise is America claims they have the righteous position, and the Bush administration was all very righteous about their reasons for going into the war, saying they wanted to spread freedom and democracy. Well, what I've come to realise is yes, democracy is the righteous position. So the question is, what do you do when you see a people who live under a dictator and they have no say? Is it okay to support them to liberate their nation into a voting system? Well, it depends. If you're going to go in and obliterate everyone and kill half the population, I don't think you're helping anyone. There are other ways to oust dictators. I think about things like funding revolutionary groups in countries ruled by dictators. If we can finance their revolution so that they can do it themselves, that would be better. It's better that the population of the nation who are being ruled over liberate themselves rather than an external nation coming in and doing the liberating for them. So if we can support, when we see countries that are ruled by tyrants, if we can support their active revolutionary groups to oust the dictator, then I support that, because people should be supported to liberate themselves into a system that gives them voice and choice and control over their leadership. So I've been very conflicted about the Iraq War now for about 5 years, when I started to think about it this way about 5 years ago, and I still maintain, the intelligence saying that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction was rubbish. It's likely completely fabricated, and it's likely the case that the Bush administration knew it was completely fabricated by the CIA to justify the war, which was all about getting oil and taking over a country and stealing resources. I certainly don't think George Bush is a sincere man, and I don't think the Bush administration was a sincere administration. And American war tactics have historically always been absolutely brutal. And the Americans just go in and smash everything, and they kill thousands and thousands of people, and they've done this over and over again throughout history. Try and be a bit more tactful with your warfare, and try and take out the people who need to be taken out, and don't kill innocent civilians. But the Americans don't seem to understand that. So yeah, I've been very conflicted about the Iraq War. I maintain that it was motivated by big business and oil companies, and it was all just a push to get resources. But I have come to see that, as I said, I will never bow before any king or dictator. Nobody will rule over me. I'm a Republican. I believe nations should be governed by the population of the people. So if you want to look at the American narrative of we're going to spread freedom and democracy around the world, well, I do think we can say that democracy is the right system, because it empowers the public, it gives them control over their nation. So if it's between to final finish, again, I'll emphasise, if it's between an installed ruler who has taken control and a system where the people of the country vote and have say over who is in charge of their nation, then I do think we can say fairly that democracy is the right system, because the public and the people should run the country. So that's what I've come to realise about the Iraq War. So drop a comment in the comment section about your thoughts about the Iraq invasion, and let me know what you think, guys. Thank you.